What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Make Shit Happen podcast. You're about to listen to part 2 of my interview with Ian Jacobs. Ian Jacobs is a 3-time world champion kickboxer who became a multi-millionaire by the age of 30. I hope that you got a lot from part 1, and I hope that you enjoy part 2. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Make Shit Happen podcast. If you're a business owner or aspiring entrepreneur who is ready to learn how to stop procrastinating and take massive action to start turning your passion into profit today, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Sam McLeod, real estate expert, 6-figure coach, and champion athlete. And my goal is to equip you with the exact tools and steps to create massive success today. Let's dive in.
You know what I mean? That's my take on it. And it's really hard for people, especially innovation. You've got one of the biggest things that I realized, like I did a SAFE program 20, 30 years ago, and it was the first of its kind. We did it with Kim Klein, absolute genius, and it's the first ever awareness prevention program. So you talk about self-defense 30 years ago. If you can prevent stuff from happening. No, you can't. Someone comes at your knife, you can't prevent it. Yeah, you can. Like, we know it's common sense now. You know, just have a look around, don't be there, it's a bad environment. But we brought psychology, criminology, verbiage specialists, body language specialists, we put all these experts together. We had a 24 martial arts, we do all this stuff. Physical defense is the last part. Do you know what I mean? So it's awareness prevention, deterring and communicating, then prepared defense. But what I'm going to say, we did this 30 years ago. The market's ready for it now. So, and that's what, with Thunderball, we've got, like, I've created like 10 steps ahead of this that's absolutely mind-blowing what it can do. But what I've learned out of life is I've pulled it back and do what people can comprehend, understand, educate the market, and do with what people can touch, buy, comprehend, and do in life. So that's one of my biggest tips. If you're an innovator, if you've got new concepts, if you've got something, you've got to keep it real. You know what I mean? Keep it real so people can comprehend it and do that. And also make sure you got the right people doing the right things at the right time in the right way.
Mm. And how did you go about finding these investors? Like, how was it networking? Like, how did you go about?
I actually, these people have the world's best superfoods. Like, they're big in the fitness and health industry. Mm-hmm. They help create Australia's biggest fitness chain. They business modeled it, franchised it, invested in it. It's a family. They started, and then now one of their things that they do is inner origin, and it's fantastic. It's the world's best superfoods, and when you understand what that does for disease prevention, health, fitness, all that sort of stuff, it's mind blowing. But they've basically got master franchises in America and Japan as well, and I basically, it was a world champion, Sharon Anyos. She's 5 times world boxing champion.
Yeah, wow.
She's turned around and said to me, Ian, have a look at this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And I said, yeah, sure. So whenever I used to fight, I used to be on some sort of superfoods or something, those multi-level marketing things that are out there because of how good they actually really are. And so I had a look at it, and it's fantastic, got involved. And when they saw what I was doing, they've gone, oh, wow, this is really cool. And when they've got their experts to have a look at it, they've gone, mate, this is really cool. We're interested in investing and getting involved. And so they're looking at helping us. Would have already had franchises all over Australia. On the east coast of Australia, it wasn't for COVID, so that's put it back a little bit, and then, all the things that have happened.
So what, I mean, out of COVID, like, a lot of people have suffered, from business-wise. People lost their jobs, lost all their income. Yep. They've had to, move out of their homes, sell their homes. It's been terrible for a lot of people.
Yep.
But in your line of work, like, what have you found has been your biggest learning curve out of COVID? Because you've had a lot of events that I've even gone to where you've had to, reschedule them because of the lockdowns and all the crazy shit that's been happening.
We've had so many golden opportunities ready to this thing to explode, and they've been smashed from COVID. You know what I mean? But like I say, you never give up. Stay true. Keep going. But one of the biggest ones is you've got 3 sorts of success in life. You've got self-success, business success, and life success. Self-success is you. You know what I mean? And business success is obvious, and life success is goals, houses, wives, children, all that sort of stuff. But the biggest one to get through COVID is make sure you don't lose your self-success. And the easiest way to do that is through fitness, singing, fitness, hobbies, come there and play Thunderball, you know what I mean? Get the stress out, you know what I mean? But it's to be honest, that's getting through COVID and helping through and all that sort of stuff. Is the main one is your self-success, and then never giving up again, staying true to who you are, what you've got to do,
Absolutely. Like, is that your definition for success then? Those three that you named off?
Yeah. It's definitely you've got to devote yourself. You've got to believe, and you've got to believe. You've got to devote yourself. You've got to stay true. Your integrity, energy, devotion is probably the three biggest things that you need to really have. And then also making sure that you've got the right people doing the right things in the right place and structure and setup and all that sort of stuff. But and things are gonna happen, you know, like you were saying, you learn from the mistakes you make, you learn from the hard times, like that fight that I was talking about with Manson Gibson that I lost. Oh man, that was like my whole life was to this one point since I was a kid, and I lost. And I came home and, you know, that song came on the radio, Hurricane, could have been champion of the world. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, my God. You know what I mean? It's like, it was devastating. Irony. But what I learned from that fight was 100 times more than I learned from any other fight. You know what I mean? So your biggest downfall became your greatest success in that way. And it's like, and like Mum, when she gave me blood nose, it was the greatest gift I had in fighting. So what happened? That fireball that she created, by the way, I'd be in a fight, and you watch some of my fights, you hear the commentators, because I used to love fighting people who knocked everyone out. They'd hit me with a knockout punch, and the commentators would go, hey, wait for it, here he goes. The fireball go off, and then I knock him out. Do you know what I mean? Because it was like this, like the power button on the computer game. You know what I mean? Yeah. That was the thing. So you stay true, and the worst things quite often become your greatest things.
So for
that knockout, like remember the 1.8 second knockout?
Yeah,
that was for my dad. My dad got cancer, and he was in hospital. They took him to hospital, and he had 95% bone cancer. He left it that long from prostate. And they said, prepare yourself, he's not leaving. I went to the gym and I tore a bag in half. I prayed to every god, every religion, please give me a sign. And there was guys there that were matchmakers for the Anthony Mundine camp, and they said, you should be fighting Anthony Mundine. And he spoke to them, and it was meant to be a $600,000 fight if it went ahead, and it looked good. So I went up and told Dad, I said, Dad, I might be fighting Anthony Mundine. What do you reckon? He goes, well, build a car, the mind will drive. In other words, get fit. I said, great, all right. And I said, it's a $600,000 fight. If it happens, I'll get you home. Because my mum's worst fear, they had their dream home. They worked the whole family, the kids and all that. And mum's worst fear is Dad would never get to see the dream home. I bought them the 40 acres, and there's the house was being built, but they were living in the shed. Dad never got to see it. And then when I went up and told Dad, Mum's rung me afterwards, you're not going to believe this. Dad's pulled himself out of bed and told the doctors where to go and said, if my son's fighting, I'm fighting.
Fuck.
They gave him 3 days to live. He lasted 3 years.
That's crazy.
But anyway, that was, and that's where the 1.8 second knockout come from. Because Mundine said no, but Tarik Solak, number one promoter in the world, and Mick Gatto got together, $1,000 a ticket, put a show on in Melbourne. And long story, I busted my eye socket training for it. So I ended up having to pull out. The doctor said, you won't have any fights for the year. And 10 days before the fight, before the show, he turns around and said, your eye's healed, don't ask me how, you can fight if you want. So I had 10 days to lose 15 kilos.
15 kilos?
10 days, yeah, and I did it, and then got the 1.8 second knockout.
So I've actually seen the video of this. Now, it's actually on YouTube for anybody that is interested and curious to see this go down. It's quite crazy. Ian, you walk out to We Will Rock You by Queen, is that right?
Yeah.
I've got to say, one of my all-time favourite tracks, and I trained to that song with you actually a lot. And once I see you walk out to this song and knock this guy out, it gives a whole new meaning to the song for me. And I remember you walking out like, mate, you were ripped to the shit house. Like, there was not an ounce of fat on you. You walked out through this road with your red gloves on, I believe. You had your red gloves on, and you walked out in the ring, and you're just jumping in the corner, talking to your trainer and Spencer, and you were just bouncing in the corner. And what was the guy's name?
Stanley Mendex, Headhunter.
Headhunter, that's
80
right.
80 fights, 40 knockouts.
The Headhunter, 80 fights, 40 knockouts, and the bells rung. And explain to people exactly what you did.
Oh, well, I didn't run straight at him. I run on an angle away from him. So it looks, for him, it's like I'm going to do a jumping roundhouse kick to his leg is all you can really do from there. So he went to check, and then as he's gone to check, I've just sped it up and put it through the centre of a jumping front kick to the sternum.
to the sternum. He just fell straight down on the ground. This is all in 1.8 seconds. Like that is fucking quick.
And the funny thing was, Stan the man, he's I think he's four or six times world champion heavyweight. Him and I were probably the biggest names in Australia to create the kickboxing, and he had the fastest Guinness World Record, fastest knockout, 7 or 8 seconds, and he was commentating. So they knew, that's how come when you hear it, you'll see it. They knew straight away that the new world record was set from there.
That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
But that was for Dad, mate. And again, the power of passion is ridiculous. If you can bring that into business, if you can bring that into your life, if you work for your family, if you work for your purpose, if you do charities and you want to help people and you want to do something, that's where the true power comes from. And things that deter you, like that's like Dad's sad point made me so powerful. So they're the things that you quite often miss, and you can put yourself in a hole. And my best life achievements have come from my darkest points. You know what I mean? When you're left all alone and you're there, if you're a good person, if you're a true person, if you dedicate yourself and do all that sort of stuff, it's where the magic happens, where you can create something, and then it's like putting a peg on the moon, boom, this is who I am, this is what I'm going to do. So if you get down out there, that's your opportunity. It's your opportunity to start again.
So for all these people that are starting their business now, it's from scratch, they're a bit unsure, they're feeling probably a bit scared to go out there and put themselves out there to be like, yep, this is, as you said, putting the peg on the moon. This is me. This is what I do. They're scared to make that leap, scared to make that jump. And they're worried that they're going to look like a fool, or they're scared about what the outcome is going to be. What would you say to them?
Well, this is where it's really important to understand these very two important things. One, if it's something that people are already doing, talk to people that you know that have done it, or find mentors that understand it, or know friends that have done it, and trust that, go with that. If it's new and it's something that no one's ever done, don't listen to anyone, because they can't comprehend it. It's really hard. One of the biggest things I've learned in life is if you've created something new that doesn't look like something else, doesn't smell like something else, doesn't work like something else, business people will deter you. Even like friends. It's been the biggest, hardest thing in my life is when you create something absolutely new. Sometimes you'll get people that will help you, but a lot of the times if you're starting off and you're young, or even if you're older and you've come up with a great idea, and especially in Australia's are big knockers. Like you take things to America or Japan, it's great. It's like the Thunderbolt I'm doing now. It's great, it's going to work. I know if this thing's in America, it would just explode like anything. You know what I mean? Like they really get behind new concepts, new ideas. Here, when people can't comprehend something, can't relate it to something, can't put it the same as, like people were trying to compare it to CrossFit, and I'm going, mate, it's a new sport. There's nothing like it out there. It's new. You know what I mean? So that's the whole.
I've found that too, being in the in the coaching space and the property space with the amount of people that I talk to and deal with on a day-to-day basis. There is a real, I don't like to use the word problem, but there is a real stance on the whole tall poppy syndrome within Australia.
Totally.
And it's hard to really get an understanding of kind of where this has all come from, because like you said, you go over to the States or Europe or Japan or whatever, they're all for it. Like they support it. They go crazy about it. They want to jump up in the air and scream and make noise. Whereas in Australia, so if they can't comprehend it, it's I don't want to know about it.
And also the frenemies. One of the things you really need to watch out in life is frenemies. People that pretend to be a friend and your enemies. Trust me, they're out there. You got to be very careful of that. But I'll give you these 3 things also. Really, like I call this the 11th commandment. Time tells all truth. And I started saying it when I was 6, when I knew. I go, I'm going to be champion of the world. People go, yeah, okay. I go, no, time will tell. You know what I mean? Like I said, I've known so many things, and I'll go, time will tell, and I've proven it again and again and again with so many things. And the 12th is trust is only proven, never said. Don't care what someone says. Don't care what they do. When people say stuff, so many people will say they're going to do this, they're going to do that, they're going to, and they don't follow through. And those 2 things, and they're the 2 things that mainly will find out who your mentors are, who your people are, who your friends are, who your partners are. And the biggest one in life, whether it be a relationship, a friendship, or a business partner, look at it this way: a figure 8. Like a figure 8, okay? A relationship isn't an O, they don't own you, and it's not 2 separate zeros, all right? So put it towards a relationship, it comes together. Everything they do helps you become more powerful, or almost everything. No one can do everything, but 80-20 rule. And everything you do helps them. So, and that over time tells the truth, and it's proven and brings it back. So that's probably the biggest tip that you can have, is creating that figure 8 in your business, in your personal life as well. Yeah.
And what would you say keeps you inspired and motivated day to day?
My daughter, my children. I got a 32-year-old boy that just owns his world, computer scientist, artificial intelligence in the States, and he's just the dream. He was a dream child, like super intelligent. Like I remember him being 4. I hadn't saw my mates for a few years because, when I was younger, I was a bit of a runaround, and they were a bit tough and that, like the old school boys. And we caught up for a barbecue, and they're like, "You're teaching him to fight." And I go, "Have a look at him. He's on a girl's lap giving a kisses, twirling." I go, "Why would I teach him to fight, man? Why would I do that? It's not his gig." And I was so glad because they all grow up and their kids are 18, 19, and they're getting calls, "Dad, come and help me out. I'm in the pub. I'm going to fight." My kid's like, "Hey, Dad, I just bought a new car and I got this new computer system." And I'm like, da 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 da. And I'm like, "Yes, and that's great."
I'm getting beaten up, Dad. Come down and show these guys what's up.
And my daughter, mate. Oh my God! She just turned 6 the other day, Havana. She is just an angel. Like if children don't motivate, if they're not the most precious thing in your life, I don't know. The world stops when they're there, and they're around you, and you share that magic. It's an opportunity to make a better creation of yourself. And they're you, and they're just broken off, and that's the sort of stuff that really motivates me, and also because I'm devoted to my third goal. Making the biggest, fastest franchise on the planet in 5 years. And the funny thing is when I first said that, business people go, "You're dreaming. It takes 10 years to prove a business." But I've seen 2 fitness experts, like they've franchise experts in the fitness industry go, "This could be bigger than," one of them goes, "This could be bigger than F45. The other one goes, "The best thing I've seen in 10 years. So when you get that sort of clarification from those sort of people, I don't care what anyone else says.
Because it is quite unique. Like, as you said, it's kind of like a squash court. You've got this big blue squash ball not squash ball, but kind of medicine ball that you're kicking, you're elbowing, you're punching. And like you said, like you can verse, it can be man versus woman. It can be old versus young.
My girlfriend beats me. You've seen it. Yeah. And it's so no size, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? I know where Phil DeBella came down and he's playing his son. When his son first, I was training his son, Ali's playing the game, and Phil would be hitting the ball to him nice and easy, and then he left it 4 weeks and he come back and his son's kicked his butt, and now he's come back, he's playing a bit more. He's a very good player actually, DeBella now. But there's no size of difference. And my girlfriend, I remember I'm playing the game and my business partner's husband is a 10th degree martial art master. And him and I are playing with them, just playing around. They go, "We're going to beat you." They spent 2 weeks, came in every day training. They go, "Righto, we're on." And we're having a giggle. Yeah, we'll get in there. And we played 5 games. They smashed us for 4. We won 1. You know what I mean? So it's it's one of those things, I'm admitting it. But that's what's great about the sport.
Yeah.
It's exclusive to everybody.
And I've got to go off subject slightly. I've got some questions that people wanted me to ask you. Obviously, mate, being the level of degree of athlete that you were in your prime and being a 3-time world champ, if you were to fight someone like the great Iron Mike Tyson, do you think that you'd stand a chance in beating him? Yeah, of course. In my time, not now, obviously. Yeah. I'm a 52-year-old man. Well, everyone's boxing nowadays. He had a fight not too long ago with... who was it? I think it was it Roy Jones Jr. I think he fought?
Yeah.
He had a fight with Roy Jones Jr.
And that's the thing.
You're quite close with...
that's the thing. I speak with Roy Jones. He's he's coming over in August, which would be great, having a look at what we're doing. And I know once he plays this sport, and once he plays it, he'll love it. It's great for fighters. If you're a fighter, you come down, what it does for fighting, it's all the things that you can't be taught in fighting: footwork, precision, power, timing, all that sort of stuff. But Roy Jones, to me, I remember when I know they had that fight, it was Mark Around, it was an exhibition bout, Mike Tyson was all over it, and I picked it. I said, whoever's got the better footwork, and with the more in touch footwork, it's the hidden rule, we'll get it. Because I realised from doing my game that's the biggest thing where comeback fighters stuff up. When you punch a bag, you're standing still. When you're hitting pads, you're standing still. When you spar, you're not moving much. A fight's dynamic. You're moving around. So your nervous system shuts down. And I realised that when I did the ball game, when you train it a certain way, like for fighting, it shuts down. So I realised that, and that's what happened. But for me, as a fighter, when I was in my prime, I was confident to fight anybody.
Iron Mike.
Anybody.
You don't give a shit.
Yep, didn't care.
Wow. When it comes to, I guess, to summarise everything that we've spoken about today, for all these new aspiring entrepreneurs and business owners, if you were to summarise everything, what would you want someone to take away from listening from today's episode?
Yeah, the biggest one is making sure it either is your desire or creating it to be your desire and finding how to make it desire. And it might be the fact that your workplace might not make you desire it, but because of what you do with it, it gives you the power to buy your wife something, your children something, and create that desire that way, to create that sort of devotion. But you've got to turn the wants and the needs into desire, and devotion, and devote yourself, man. Remember, success starts where everyone else stops. And having a balanced life too, like you've really got to have that home life, the love, just be extreme, man, extreme lover, extreme, fighter, extreme business person. Life's extreme, so the more extreme you can be with it and the more intelligent work you do, more than hard, the better. Finding mentors is a part of creating that team and the friends and the circle. And I call it Knights of the Round Table. You get a lot. You can sit down with a few mates that are super successful and bounce things off each other, having a beer, and it's sensational.
So how important is, like, obviously Spencer was your mentor. Did you have any other mentors in your life?
Yeah, my brother Steve. Steve was the one that taught me to fight. My dad's ex-commando. He taught me if I needed to save lives and end lives, that he taught me that stuff. But Wayne was definitely the reason I'm who I am and did what I did in that industry. You know what I mean? And there's been plenty of other people out there in my life that have been great true friends and mentors in business and stuff like that as well. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I think we'll wrap it up there, Ian. But mate, again, just want to extend my gratitude for coming on today, mate. It's I definitely think that we'll have to do another episode because it's just so hard to get everything into one.
It is
encapsulated into one episode, mate. It's just you can't do it. But I again appreciate you coming down, mate, and thank you to all the listeners,
mate. And great, good luck with all this, man. You're going to do really well. It's awesome.
Thanks,
love you, brother. Bye.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening. Hopefully you've learned something from today's episode and know the next steps to focus on in your business. Want more resources to jumpstart your journey? Click the link in the show notes to see what else I have to offer and book a call with myself to jumpstart your business and make shit happen. I specialize in helping people turn their passion into six-figure businesses to replace your 9-to-5 through online education and high-ticket coaching. If this is something that interests you, you can reach out to me through any of my social media outlets in the description below.